One. Hey guys, welcome back to the Nets, the home of unbiased views. This is a channel where we talk about cricket, we talk about football. Actually, we have a podcast for cricket that we specifically save for cricket. And in here at this time, we will be talking about Arsenal. With me is Elroy. But before we go anywhere, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you have seen us before, let us know what we are doing right and let us know what we are not doing right. We will be glad to work on it. And with that, hey Elroy, welcome back.
Hey, Kayur. Are you
So,
in a mood to discuss yesterday's game?
let's start with the good things that happened before we went into this game. Two signings on a day, unlike Arsenal.
Yes.
No surprises there. Odegaard
Yeah.
and Ramsdale getting through. And I was keeping my hopes high that maybe Odegaard comes in and plays this game, but that wasn't supposed to be.
Yeah.
And just as we signed Ramsdale, there was a news this morning that our primary goalkeeper Leno will not be signing an extension, and highly likely that he will be either sold at the end of this summer or maybe
Yep.
sometime mid-season. So,
Yeah.
with those negative thoughts, let's jump into the game.
No,
Uh,
I think, wait, to just touch up upon that, I think, see, we had discussed previously itself, and I had also mentioned that how it always felt like Odegaard was the number one choice. We were just waiting to see how his situation would turn up at Madrid. And, for much that we criticize the club about various transfer moves and all, I think signing Odegaard and for the fee that we have got him for, that is like 35 plus add on, it's a really good move. It's a good move that, I think people are a bit disappointed mainly because people probably expected Madison, and Madison was, no concrete links to him, but yeah, people just thought that we are getting Madison maybe, so people were kind of disappointed that we got Odegaard. But for me, getting Odegaard is a brilliant move. It's he will definitely be the most technical player that we will have that we have in the squad right now, and hopefully we can make use of that. Yes, he doesn't have the number of goals and assists to back him up, and I hope that he improves on that. And that is where I wanted something a bit different in the creative midfield, maybe, but I really hope Odegaard can do it. So that was just about the signings. Oh yes, and Ramsdale. Like, we've all had our skepticism about Ramsdale, but it's a deal that, like, many of us have a lot of questions. But right now he's an Arsenal player, and now that he's an Arsenal player, just going to back him and hope he succeeds. And I really hope he proves everyone wrong. I really, really hope so.
so with Ramsdale, I am thinking positive, and I'm really
Yeah.
thinking that since Arteta's whole philosophy was playing from the back, and we still went and bought a Ramsdale, maybe the change will be that Arteta will go and some other guy comes in who doesn't want to play from the back. So that's wishful thinking from my part. But yes, you're right. Odegaard for me is a decent buy. I would not say an exceptional buy, a decent buy. But we also have to remember that we are a mid-table club right now.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
buying medicine from our immediate rivals and strengthening them was, something that
Always going to be
I would
sure.
have thought a million times. But do you think this is where it stops, or do you really believe that there's another one or two purchases in this transfer window?
um, I think, honestly speaking, I'm keeping my hopes low in this, and I'm just thinking, I'm just going to mentally prepare myself that nobody's going to come. But we might get one more player, is what I feel. But then it all depends on exits. If we don't get the players out of the door, we are not going to get anyone. And let's look at it this way: there are three positions where we are looking for players to exit, and you know, if they exit, for me, the top two, in my opinion, which the club will probably be looking at, will be the center forward role and the right back. And in my opinion, right back will be the highest priority because Chambers has not done well. Bellerin wants out. Chambers didn't do well against Brentford. Bellerin wants out, and Cedric is. I mean, I don't know even why was he signed in the first place. So we have three players there who are not. Club is actively looking to sell, to let go of Maitland Niles as well. I mean, if Niles remains and he's ready to play as a right back, I would take that. I would, because he's someone who can do it. But will he do it? That's the other question. So my thing is, it could be say right back, or if we sell off Lacazette and Eddie, we go for us to center forward late in the window. But I think center forward chances seem to be less and less right now. So I'm just guessing it will be like maybe a right back. And the least likely would be someone like a central midfielder. But central midfielder, you because see, we are losing Torreira already, and I would say that we get a central midfielder if we lose Torreira as well as El Neni. But as of now, there are no rumors of El Neni going. So till if he doesn't leave as well, I don't see us signing another midfielder.
I was looking at the outgoings myself. I was thinking about all the outgoings that could be potentially possible this window. The one that we definitely know is going to happen is Torreira, Bellerin.
Yes,
These are the two that are definitely going out.
and
There is also
Kolasinac
a
as
high
well.
possibility now that Eddie might be on his way out as well.
Yes, yes, yeah,
Okay. Players that we also want out, Willian. We would love to see him out and free some of the wages up there
yeah.
because he adds nothing. But actually, if you ask me, I would have actually put in Willian yesterday because just for the experience that he may bring in the middle of the pitch. But nonetheless, it was a game that we were supposed to lose, and we were just
No, and he
disappointed with
is
the
yeah.
way that it happened. But now with
Villian is
these three
down with
players going out,
COVID, right?
yeah, because
Villian
of
is
the
down
three
with
players
COVID as well.
that we have going out, we probably could potentially look at a right back. Now we keep pushing that the right back is a position that we need to replace. We have to find a replace. Yesterday, both the attacks came from the left,
Yes.
and it was again, a textbook. We can probably close our eyes and see this happening. Xhaka making a tackle. He's not able to get anywhere close to the ball. They are easily able to get past him. And yesterday, for some reason, Tierney was trying to attack a lot more and was found out of position way lot.
Yeah, no. So for me, the goals were I wouldn't call them as Tierney's position. See, Tierney being high up the field normally when he attacks, that is not a Tierney issue. That is what we had discussed last time. It is clearly a tactical instruction given that Tierney has to play high up, and when Tierney goes there, Xhaka takes that left center back role kind of. But irrespective, so yesterday, if you see the way the game has panned out, Tierney, we first of all, the biggest mistake to start off with was that we decided to play four at the back when Chelsea are a team that is playing three at the back. And with three at the back, Chelsea are a team that is very, very strong on the wings. You have Alonso on one side and Reece James the other side, and everybody knows that Alonso, irrespective of what kind of player, he's a left back who can attack quite a lot. Reece James also, everyone knows his quality. So Chelsea is a team that can, make a team pay from the wings. And now they've got Lukaku as well, a really strong and aerially dominant center forward, and who's really, really strong in general and even good. So you have all these things into account, and you're playing 4-4-2, which was, I mean, 4-2-3-1, whatever, but four at the back, which was quite bad in my opinion. And we should have gone match them up with the three at the back because it would help us probably contain Lukaku, and it would maybe compress the center of the field, which we would be better off defensively maybe. So for me, it's like Tierney was marking the likes of, I guess, Mount, who was playing on that side. Mount and Havertz also shifting, but mainly he was marking Mount. Mari took on Lukaku. Lukaku played a simple one pass football with Kovacic, and next thing you know, Reece James is far open in the right side, and he just put a ball and he's gone. So a lot of people are questioning Saka. Is Saka supposed to be marking Reece James? Maybe, maybe not. It all depends on the tactical instruction they were given. Because if you see Saka, Smith Rowe, and Saka, Martinelli, and Pepe were pressing quite high up, and they were like, if Saka was pressing in the middle, they were trying to press Jorginho or Kovacic based on which side they were playing that way. So, and they were playing quite high up. So at this point of time, you have to look at it. Should it have been Xhaka handling the likes of Mount and Tierney looking at Reece James, or maybe uh, because I don't think the likes of Tierney marking Mount and Xhaka being on the left wing makes sense. So there was something wrong there. Now, whether that is the players being positionally out, indisciplined, or whether it was a tactical approach that we went in, but both the goals were in the same way, which shows for me there was a tactical loophole. I mean, there was a big loophole in our setup, and Chelsea just took advantage of it in both those goals.
So yesterday's sad part for me was we never looked like scoring. There was that one
Yes, yeah.
chance where Saka actually had the ball up there, and
He had
he
a
in
heavy
the first
touch. Yeah.
half, and he his first touch wasn't really that great.
Yeah.
But besides that, we don't really think there was any chance. And
Yes.
yes, we were aware that Chelsea will be winning this game. But the sad part was Chelsea won it comfortably without even
Exactly.
shifting from second to third gear, forget the fifth gear. And us
Yeah.
being so miserable that we couldn't even, we were bullied in our own half, we were bullied in the midfield, and there
Yeah.
was nothing being fed in the front.
Exactly.
Uh,
And I think just to add to it, I think that can be seen by the XG of the match. I don't know what was Chelsea's XG, but I know it was more than 2 for sure. And our XG was just 0.54. So we've just created 0.54 XG worth of chances, which is very, very, very poor. And in the first half, it was just 0.34, which shows that 0.15, 0.3, whatever, it was very poor. So that clearly shows that we are not threatening whatsoever. And, the chance creation has been poor, no proper chances, no clear cut chances. And we can't go on for too long with this. I mean, yes, people are going to write off, and even I would say that, okay, fine, you can write off the Chelsea match and maybe even the City match. But there is a pattern emerging which is a bit too scary, irrespective of the opponent right now.
Absolutely. And again, we are not expected anything to get out of City. But the fact is, we go in with no tactics for City. Like if I was Arteta at this time, I would probably put all 11 players in defense against City,
Yeah,
and you know what, just get a point here and there, and
exactly.
see if we
Yes.
can break them in the counter. But I think we are just running clueless right down the pitch, and to a certain extent, I feel that the players are at the verge of not playing for this manager anymore. Which I don't really know what the situation is in the dressing room, how much Arteta is being packed, but what do you think is happening in after the first six games? Do you think Arteta is going to get a lifeline or?
See, as I have always said, our club management is never going to be acting in a very smart way. So, see, I think this is my personal opinion, not based on what I've read or anything. I feel that the club also accepts the fact that it's not going to be an easy ride till the Manchester City game. So, mentally, irrespective of what the scenario is, what the results are, the club probably expects to have the worst kind of result, at least till City. So they'll probably start, the questions will start to be raised for the Norwich match, which is after that. From the Norwich match onwards, for me, is where the club will act, because it's kind of similar to what happened with Emery as well. Emery in his first game, I mean, obviously there was not going to be that kind of pressure because he was a new manager replacing a legacy manager. But the first two games were Chelsea and City back to back, and that the third game onwards is when he started to get results, and he ended up being on a 22 match run. Now that could easily happen with Arteta as well. Come Norwich game, we will have a lot of players back. We'll have Oba Laka back. We'll have Odegaard. Hopefully, someone like Partey and Gabriel. We have these players, and automatically your squad improves as a whole. And maybe we could go on a run. And trust me, irrespective of what you think about, as anyone thinks about the manager, I always say this, that I want Arteta to succeed, because Arteta succeeding is Arsenal succeeding. And the reason for this is that our management has invested everything that they have into the Arteta project. And at this point of time, it just feels that the management is too, uh, you know, they don't have the face to say that, okay, we've made a mistake, like let's go ahead in a different direction. Instead of this, they just want to continue to back and back Arteta, maybe fix the cracks that are on the wall, with plaster, rather than fixing the entire damage that is done. So they don't want to have another rebuild, is what I feel. They would rather, like, keep, if Arteta wants a new center forward, might as well give him a new center forward, rather than, because it's an embarrassment, because all these decisions at the end of the day have come from the higher up. So I was just discussing this today with a couple of friends as well. When Arteta started, there was so much of promise. He, the ruthlessness that we had in certain big games, the way he would grind out a result. And look, if people say that Arteta is bad, I mean, let's just face it, he did get us some results with even Mustafi as a center back. So Mustafi and Luis together. So it's not like, as I always say, it's not like he is a bad manager. He has it in him, but what has happened, I don't know. So one thing I can pinpoint to is the fact when they promoted him from a head coach to a manager. Till he was a head coach, he was purely dealing with the coaching aspect. And all of a sudden, they made him the manager, gave him way too much power. He's involved with a lot of things now, like maybe even has a big say in the transfers. And for me, that is where maybe things change for Arteta. And again, if I go round and round to this point, is where I would say I would put a heavy blame on Edu as well. Because Edu should be, being the technical director, Edu should be seeing that this club's future is secured long term, irrespective of the manager, irrespective of the head coach. You should be making your signings based on the club's requirements rather than the manager's requirements. I mean, not, when I say manager's specific requirements, but it's not happening. If we are going to be like, many people give that excuse saying that Arteta needs certain players. Yes, he might need certain players, but at the same time, let's take there are a lot of managers who have to work with what they got. Why isn't that working out? And that for me is a big part to be blamed on Edu, because Edu should be setting that up, setting the future of the club, which he's not. So for me, Arteta and Edu, we are in a very, very difficult situation. So as I said, I would much rather we end up getting results and we win, and we get the points or get on a good run, rather than having to sack Arteta or Edu, because there's no guarantee of things improving. There's no guarantee of our club making any smart decisions. That's my take on this.
So, I mean, if you look at it, yes, I do agree. And I would say that the positive that I take from it is we are knocking off some of the big and tough games up front early in the season.
True.
So,
Yeah.
this is also that chance where the management realizes, gives, yes, maybe we
Yeah.
may need some more reinforcements. And there are some talks going around about our also my being a target for Arsenal. I will be happy. But then there was also another recommendation to Manchester City that go for Aubameyang rather than going for Kane, because he will be a lot cheaper than getting Kane. And Kane anyway wants to leave, so he's not going to sign a new contract. And I
Yeah.
personally, if I was Guardiola, I would have done the exact same thing. And if I was Oba, I would have actually signed for City, because I'm not playing with somebody
Yeah.
who, one day he
Exactly.
wants to play from the back and the other day he wants to. I mean, I
Yeah.
have pretty much lost hope with Arteta. I don't really know
I
what's the
think
Arteta project.
I think that's the general mood all around. So as I tweeted, I said the same thing. Like, tomorrow we will get Partey, we will get Gabriel, we'll get Aubameyang, we'll get Lacazette and Odegaard. These five big players, even if we get them back into the team, and even Ben White, like six players who were not there yesterday. Say we get all six players back into the squad's quality will drastically improve. No doubt about that. There's no two ways about it. But do you think the situation is going to improve? Because at the end of the day, the players follow a certain tactical approach, certain instructions given by a certain person, a certain leader of theirs. And if those tactics are not going to be working, then you can get even Messi and Ronaldo in this team, and we could still play from that left wing with Tierney crossing in.
So uh, let's talk about if the players and when the players get all fit. If they
Yeah.
look all fit, Partey walks into this team easy.
Oh, easily, easily, yes,
We
easily.
sit out Zaka or do we sit out Lokonga? Lokonga has actually looked a lot brighter.
At this point of time, I would definitely sit out Xhaka, because Xhaka, I don't know what it is. He's not. I mean, we have a bias and all that is there, but for me, Xhaka doesn't. He doesn't even seem like the kind of player he was last season. I mean, last season even he had a couple of iffy moments here and there, but overall, he had one of his best seasons in an Arsenal shirt last season. But for me, this season, he seems to be in a very, I don't know what is it. He's not even replicated the performance that he had against in the Euros. He's nowhere like that player. Is it the transfer talk, or is it just some fitness issues, or is he already declining? I mean, I honestly don't know, but he's not filling me with confidence right now. And Lokonga is, so I would definitely continue Lokonga. Lokonga is
So,
obviously, you're
and
going to see
here is
certain
another
raw.
thing that,
Yeah.
I've been on Clubhouse a lot in the last few days, and I was listening to people and hearing their opinions. And every single time we talk about Arteta, people say that with Norwich and Burnley, he will buy some time. He will buy himself some time.
Yes.
I don't understand this concept that what do you mean by buy some time? It clearly means that with the mindset that people have,
Yeah.
he's going to buy himself some more time for the future, which does not
Yeah.
really comfort me saying he's going
See,
to be the future. He's just going to buy
exactly.
a time. So he's
Yeah.
an interim director, interim coach for me whose experiment has just failed. I mean, I
Yeah.
look at it this
I,
way and call it
yeah.
my
So
personal
no.
opinion.
No, I completely agree. So if you look at it that way, right, it just I think Tim Stillman had tweeted about this once, saying that, see, Arteta, you can understand the logic behind the club going after Arteta. Like, the club at that point of time was in a mess, and they knew that they would. It's a long project. Let's face it, irrespective whether it was Arteta, whoever, it was not going to be an easy fix after what Wenger and Emery's era. Like the players, it was quite a mess with a lot of unwanted players, and we still are in a mess in to some extent that way. But so the club probably went with Arteta thinking that yes, he's a former player who will definitely have some extra brownie points with the fans. Second thing is he's a young and upcoming manager who you're investing stocks into someone who's very who there's an unknown factor about him. So he could go either way. He could go either in the completely opposite direction and not be a good person at manager at all, or he could be someone who's like, you have ended up unearthing the next best manager. It was, so the club went with that approach. And let's face it, with the first half season that he got, winning the FA Cup and the Community Shield the following a couple of weeks later, everybody, Arteta's stocks were at an all-time high, and the club would have probably thought that okay, we have made the best decision ever. And fair enough, like, we were all filled with optimism at the start of last season. Then they decided to make him the manager, and things have somehow changed, and not changed for the best possible reason, is what we can see. So yes, so at this point of time, the club have to make a decision, in my opinion. Do you want to continue with this project? Do you really think that this project, Arteta project, is going somewhere? Or is it just admit your mistake, saying that okay, we have made a mistake and let's move on to the next step? There's no harm in doing that, but that's the problem. That is where I say I always blame our management. Even when it comes to, say, for instance, Emery, when Emery, you could see that Emery's end was near. And I remember there was an international break where we could have easily let him go. Had a international break, we could have gotten a new manager at that time. But no, we stuck with him for another couple of weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, and then we sacked him. And by then, like, the top four challenge or whatever was just gone. So that's the same thing what I'm saying here with Arteta. It's like, if you have a doubt, and right now nobody can see what is happening, it's like you might as well pull the trigger. But knowing the our management, we are definitely not going to pull the trigger. We are going to see how he performs after these next two games, after the City game. So after that, we'll get to know whether are they backing him or is there a problem.
So before we go, Pablo Mari yesterday, any
Oh,
any any word special mention of him?
so I tweeted about this saying that I think many people would know that back in 2014 when Arsenal played Swansea, there was this guy called Jefferson Montero who played against Chambers as right back, and he harassed Chambers. So till date, Chambers is always known with regards to Jefferson Montero. If anybody wants to talk about a bad point about Chambers, they'll always bring up Jefferson Montero. And for me, I said this is the exact same thing that's going to happen for Pablo Mari for the rest of his career. This Lukaku performance is going to haunt him and is going to be brought up to his face each and every time. Like, Lukaku toyed with him, like absolutely toyed with. In fact, in my opinion, Holding did better than him, but then
Absolutely.
Lukaku targeted Murray when he knew that it was easy, very easy to turn Murray and like take him for a
So
ride.
here is something strange. With Mari, in the first few minutes, Mari was just tracking Lukaku. So even if,
He
if you think about zonal defense and Lukaku happens to be in the holding zone, Mari would be still stuck with him, which was the reason Tierney would have to come back in,
yes,
and they found a spot there for Reece James. It happened
yeah,
twice now, and if somebody like us can see it, it's pretty
true.
shameful if Arteta is not able to see it and point it out and rectify it and in
Exactly.
in one go.
And
So it is just
yeah, and what frustrated me was before Reece James's second goal, Chelsea had another attack in the same way where they exploited our left flank and they attacked from the right. And we have already conceded a goal from that area, and they've attacked again. Yet we didn't make any tactical change whatsoever. There was nothing being done to rectify that. And next thing you know, we have ended up conceding the goal. So it was a very upsetting performance.
all right. And before we wrap up now, I know it's a little longer than we usually do it, but there was some news this morning that Conte's wages are 196K per week. And I was just taking delight out of it that, okay, somewhere someone is talking about it. So Arteta, the odds have been slashed again further down for Arteta being the first manager to be sacked this year. And they have dropped further down from where they were last week. So I think the fans being in the stadium and the fans booing is going to cause some ripple effect. And
Yes.
the fact that there are season tickets
Yes.
still available tells me that there is
Exactly.
some kind of a revolt
Uh,
happening at
no,
Arsenal.
no, that is definitely the case. If you see how the club took the decision on Wenger and how the club took the decision on Emery, it's like the moment apathy kicks in within the fans. Like Wenger era, people were really, really fed up with the full Wenger period, and you could see that with the seats being empty. Same thing happened with Emery when Emery was not being sacked, and fans wanted. The moment empty seats were seen is when the management decided to make this move. Now here, Arteta, it's a bit tricky because maybe it's COVID related, where people are, that was highly possible that some people are not comfortable going. But yeah, but the moment the fan apathy kicks in, where the fans are not going to be interested, that it's going to a visible decline in the attendance will be seen, is when the club will actually take that call. Till then, I feel that,
Because
like for
that
instance,
happens.
I'll tell you, for instance, a simple thing. Like next week when we play City, and if we do not get the result, which is most likely, I'm expecting us to start getting a couple of news reports saying that no, the club will back him up. The club still think he is the right man to go ahead. But when such reports come up, you should know that that is the start of the end at times. So
Absolutely.
look
Absolutely.
forward. We have to watch out for that space, is what I
All
feel.
right. And with that note, let's wrap it up for today. So, hopefully, fingers crossed, we get someone decent in the next few days, maybe hour. And for some reason, I have a hunch he will be an Arsenal player within the next few days. I don't know
Yeah.
why, but I think we will sign a midfielder before we sign a right back. And maybe because somewhere psychologically, Arteta knows that he has invested enough in the defense in recent years.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
that
Definitely.
plays at the
Definitely.
back of his head. And we might just see out Ashley Maitland Niles, his contract, and he walks away for free. But we will force him and make him play on the right flank or right back. But guys, if you have seen us before, if you have watched us before on YouTube, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let us know what we are doing right. Let us know what we are not doing right. Absolutely active on Twitter, both of us. The handles are right there in the bottom left corner. Let us know how we do. And with that note, stay healthy, stay safe wherever you are. Thank you. Final words,
Thanks,
Elroy.
Aaron. Let's just hope. I mean, I know we are nothing to look forward to right now, but we do have a match against West Brom, if I'm not wrong, right, in the midweek in the League Cup. So hopefully we'll get a victory there at least, because trust me, irrespective of the manager, irrespective of the players, I want to see Arsenal winning, and can't wait to see a win soon.
Amen to that. Thank you, Elroy. We will
Yeah,
talk
thanks,
soon.
Kerr. Yeah, sure.